How's it going, y'all? Welcome back to the Gear Vault. Today in the vault, we've got another range video slash ammo testing video for the CVA Cascade XT in 308 Winchester. So if you watched my last video on the CVA Cascade, I had a little bit of trouble with accuracy, and I was pretty upfront with y'all that it was kind of a bad day. There's a lot of wind blowing. I'm in North Dakota, and sometimes it's just really tough to catch a day when the wind isn't blowing. But today it's about 4 miles an hour and it's straight at my back from the way that I'm going to be shooting. So it's probably about as good of a day to shoot as we're going to get. So decided to bring this one back out, try a few other different ammos just to see if we can find something that this thing likes. And I also mentioned in the last video that Leupold, the VX3 4.5 to 14, while I love that scope, it's a great like lightweight option for a hunting rifle. It is set at a parallax of 150 yards, and so when you're at full magnification at 100, you do get a little bit of a blur, and I want it to be as fair as I possibly could to this rifle, so I did go ahead. I picked up a new Vortex. This is the Crossfire HD, so their newer line of Crossfire scopes. This is a 6 to 18 by 50. And I threw it on there with some of like Vortex's inexpensive, the $25 rings that they have. And so I think that this is a pretty good representation at this point of like what someone might do as far as setting this rifle up. As far as the person that buys a Cascade XT, they're probably not going to put a $2,500 scope on it, right? So you've got a $700, $800, $900 rifle. You might be putting $200 to $500 glass on there. This scope was like $290, I think, for the 6 to 18 version. And honestly, likely most people would be putting like the 3 to 9 or 4 to 12 or whatever on there. But this is one that I think will do a good job of helping me kind of showcase the accuracy of this rifle whenever we find some loads that it likes. I do just want to quickly say though that in mounting this scope, just like the last scope, there is one issue that I have found for the second time now, and that is this rail is just a bit too long in my opinion. If you're the kind of person that likes a medium or a high ring, then you're going to be just fine. Me personally, I do like running lows, especially if I'm on a Picatinny rail. I want lows on there because I want that scope as low as I can get it, and even especially more when I don't have an adjustable cheek piece. So I want that scope as low as I can get it. I mounted this with lows. The scope does clear, but right here and right here, it's really close to touching on both ends, to be honest. In theory, as long as nothing gives or slides, we still should be good. The scope isn't going to flex and touch, so we should be good there. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. I don't foresee that it will, but just wanted to kind of let you know about that. I do think that this rail would be better served to be cut off basically right where the barrel starts and not have, that last 3/4 of an inch there. I just don't think that it's necessary. And before we actually start shooting, I'll grab the ammo and show you what we're going to be shooting today. So I went to my local Shields here a couple days ago just to pick up some more 308 ammo. Y'all were saying in the comment section of the last one that I must be sponsored by Hornady. That's not the case. I just happen to have a lot of Hornady ammo, but I did pick up some different stuff to shoot today. And as I was looking for ammo, I was reminded why I like the 308, or one of the reasons why I like the 308. There's a ton of different options out there, and it's really not that expensive. So what we're going to be shooting today, we got the Federal Gold Medal. That's a 168 grain bullet. This stuff was only like $29.99 a box for this match ammo, so that's super impressive. I also got some Federal. This is the Tipped Fusion, the 180 grain. That's going to be some pretty slow stuff, I would imagine. 2600, so my 22-inch barrel is probably going to be in the 25s. I also got some Barnes Harvest. Kind of excited to try this one. This is their 165 grain 308, so that's with a Sierra Tipped Game King. I made a couple videos on this and how it was odd. It makes more sense now that I realized it was essentially the same company or sister companies, but I am excited to try this stuff. Again, $39.99 a box for Barnes. That's super good. And lastly, I do still have other Hornady ammo at the house that I haven't shot yet. So I've got the Hornady Custom. This is the 150 SSTs. So without further ado, let's lay down and start shooting this thing. First up, we're gonna shoot the Federal Gold Medal, the Target match ammo. Also do want to mention that in the last video, we had an issue with that rail coming loose. I did end up taking it off, cleaned it, put some thread locker on it, got that torqued down. Double check the action screws. Got Torx on everything, so we shouldn't have any issues with anything coming loose on us today. I will just kind of periodically double check it though, just to make sure. We will check velocity with the Athlon Rangecraft today, but let's send 3 with this Federal gold medal and see what she does with some match ammo today. 2540, 2531, 2528. So average was 2533 for the match ammo there with the Federal. Had 1 flyer, so not sure if that was me or what, but I'll probably shoot another 3-round group of that stuff just for good measure. Had another flyer on that group as well, so let the barrel cool down. I'll run down and show you those 2 groups. We'll let the barrel cool and move on to the next ammo here. So I did have to make some homemade targets today. I was out of my others, but off camera, I did the sighting in shots. Shot that one, brought it down, shot this one, and then adjusted again and shot that one. Now, the 2 groups that I shot with it were this one here, which is an 1.5-inch group, and this one, which is an 1.25-inch group. But if you notice, the last time that I've made an adjustment was right there. So bottom right of the square. And then I've got these 2 here, these 2 here with the 2 flyers. So it seems like it's wanting to group them right here, but I don't know why I'm getting that flyer on both groups there. So for now, I'm just going to move on to the next ammunition and see what happens. All right, so next up, we're going to be shooting the Federal Fusion tipped 180 grain bullets. 2597, 2593, 2591. That group looks a little bit better. Say I definitely notice it going to the 180s, like there's a noticeable jump in recoil. Still not bad, obviously, because it's still just a 308 and it does have a brake on it, but it is noticeable. Probably wouldn't want to have your kids shooting the 180s. Barrel still feels pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and run 3 more. Maybe we'll just do 2 groups of each ammo today. But I will say, this trigger, I'm really liking. Especially after shooting the Savage and the Rugers lately. This trigger is worlds ahead of those triggers. All right, let's send 3 more. And those were shooting about 2 inches low, so I just brought the scope up another couple inches, and I'm just going to shoot at the same target there. So average for the 6 shots was 2592. All right, so that first group with the tipped Fusion was actually a 3/4-inch group, so super happy with that. I did adjust the scope up, and I think this was my first shot, second, third. So ended up with a flyer on that one. And again, that could definitely be me. It could be the gun, could be the ammo. I don't know. I'm just trying to show you what I'm experiencing here, but we did get a 3/4-inch group. All right, next up, we are going to do the Barnes Harvest Collection with the 165 Sierra tipped Game Kings. 2628, 2630, 2631. Again, I do have a flyer. Let her cool for a second and I'll fire 3 more here. All right, so Barnes Harvest. We did the first group here. This was the first shot, and then we fired these 2 here. That's about 1.5 inches. And then we've got 7/8 group here. So let's go back and let's shoot the Hornady. This is the Hornady Custom with the 150 SSTs. 2750, 2750.3, and 2755. Super consistent there. The group, however, does not look too good. All right, y'all. First group with the Hornady Custom was this one here. That's an 1.5 inch group. And then we've got this group here, which is a 2-inch group. So I do have a couple of empty bullseyes left on those two targets. I think I'm going to run back through that Barnes Harvest and the Tipped Fusion, do at least one more group of each of those. Probably do it off camera. It's like pretty chilly out here and my camera battery is going to crap fast. So I'll knock these out and then we'll see what everything looks like. All right, so I did fire one more group with the Barnes Harvest. We've got an 1 3/8 here, kind of strung left to right there. But I finished the day with this group here. This is a 5/8 group, and that is with the Federal Tipped Fusion 180 grain bullets. All right, y'all, so that's gonna do it for today's ammo test. We did end up finding a load that this rifle seems to like, and that was the Federal Fusion Tipped 180 grain. That's a good one for it to like because that round is capable of doing just about anything you want to do. It's a great elk round, great deer round, you know, within its limitations as far as distance, but super happy to see that that one was shooting well. One group was just a little over an inch. It was like 1 1/8 maybe. But then we did shoot a 3/4 inch group as well as a 5/8 inch group with that ammunition. So super pumped about that. It seems like that's going to be a really consistent loading for this rifle. The Barnes wasn't quite as good, but it was still decent. One group under 1 inch and a couple just a little over. So for the guy just wants to buy like a box off the shelf, you know, to go hunt whitetail at 200 yards and less, that's probably a really good option for you. It was just like 40 bucks. The Federal Fusion is also an inexpensive box of ammo as well, though. So that's super awesome that it doesn't take a $70 box of ammunition to get this thing to shoot it. It likes some of the more inexpensive stuff, and that's cool. You know, so me personally, I've actually had decent luck with Hornady ammunition as far as accuracy in the past. A lot of people in the comment section of my last video said that they have not experienced that. They said that Hornady is just a really good marketing company and that their ammunition is trash. That's not necessarily been my experience with it. I don't necessarily like that SST bullet, but I have had decent experience in the accuracy department in, you know, previous rifles that I've had. But this one does not seem to like much from Hornady. It didn't like the Precision Hunter, didn't like those, you know, the SST and the Hornady Custom. I do have a few other Hornady rounds to try in it, but in my opinion, I would say to be on the safe side, if you're buying a CVA Cascade or Cascade XT or something, and you don't have a lot of money to spend on ammunition, Hornady probably wouldn't be necessarily my first choice that I would grab. I would say you're probably better off grabbing, you know, Federal Fusion, Fusion Tipped, maybe even just Blue Box Federal. That Barnes Harvest is probably a good option for you. There's some inexpensive stuff out there that this thing seems to, you know, like a little bit better. If you are gonna be getting Hornady, if you wanna support Hornady, I would probably look at the American Whitetail. That was the best loading that I had seen in the last video. It seemed to like that interlock bullet. And I have experienced that in the past too. Like, the American Whitetail does seem to shoot better than a lot of others out there as far as Hornady goes. So if you want to shoot Hornady, try that one. You know, that's just my opinion. But overall, guys, I am actually really impressed with this gun so far. It's not an expensive rifle by any means, but I am happy with the way the action feels. The bolt lift at 70 degrees, I love that. The trigger is awesome, especially after shooting like the Accu triggers on like the Savage and like the Ruger American triggers. Like, this thing is so far ahead of those triggers that it's not even funny. Speaking of triggers though, I will say that the little set screw for the trigger that, you know, kind of adjusts the weight, that fell out during my time shooting today. Quick Google search says that that's fine and that it doesn't matter. That just makes your trigger as light as it can possibly be, and I'm fine with that. I still have the screw just in case, you know, someone from CVA tells me otherwise, but that did happen. During the process of shooting today, that screw did fall out. Aside from that, the only real negatives I have found on this rifle, and this is just my opinion, this rail is a little bit too long. I wish it was about a 1/2 inch shorter because that would give me more clearance for my scope here. As it stands right now, I feel like I'm having to reach a little bit to get a full field of view, and that's with low rings. You'd have better clearance with mediums, but I don't want to add any height to it because I'm already reaching. So if anything, I would like it to be even lower. So if this was going to be like my dedicated just go-to hunting rifle, I'm probably taking that rail off of there and just going with like a Tally, you know, one-piece base and ring get that thing a little bit lower and just eliminate one more connection point. The only other negative I've really found on this rifle, muzzle brake, she is stuck on there real good. I've had two people on it, you know, one holding the barrel, one trying to thread it off of there. That didn't work. I've had a wrench and rags and pliers and this and that. I think it's going to take heat to get it off there. I'm not sure why these gun companies do that as far as getting it so darn tight, like Ruger's really bad about it. There you have it, guys. Not a lot of negative, whole lot of positive with the CVA Cascade XT. Really excited to try some different ammunitions. Let me know in the comment section if you've got a CVA, what have you had really good luck with? A lot of people are telling me to try some stuff from Norma as well as Nosler. I've not tried anything from, you know, Browning, Winchester, stuff like that. So a lot of ammunition out there left to try. Let me know in the comment section what you want to see. What do you want to see next from the CVA Cascade XT? Appreciate y'all watching. Till next time, y'all be safe.